Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Bones of the Past by Drew Hayes. So, as usual, we're going to talk non-spoilery thoughts and opinions up front, and then we're going to move over to the spoiler section where we can talk in more detail. So, with that being said, remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and let's begin. So, Bones of the Past is the second book in the Villain Code series by Drew Hayes, and we continue to follow Tori Rivas, a recently basically graduated member of the Villains Guild. She has finished her training and now she's a full-fledged villain and she's trying to basically live her life. So, because of the type of person and the type of villain Tori wants to be, she's not out doing a bunch of crimes or anything like that, really. She's just trying to, get her meta suit going and stick with her inventions and keep doing research and stuff. But because she lives in the town where basically the Justice League operates, their AHC, the Alliance of Heroic Champions, where all the superheroes live, she just basically walks down the street and gets caught up in some situation where she ends up getting so much more attention on her than she wants. So she basically has to then, as a result of this whole situation, deal with the extra protection that the AHC puts on her. So she's got like all these superheroes basically watching her back, trying to protect her when she's a villain and she needs to go out and do villain stuff. So it's kind of dealing with that sort of thing through a lot of the book. And as the title says, is Bones of the Past. We get a lot of character stuff in this book. The first 2/3 of the book is pure character work. And we kind of understand how every character, pretty much every character that's important, how their past how their past very seriously affects their present, and how it'll basically help write the person that they are currently. So I think this book is really, really good. It took me a while to finish it, and it was very long, but it was like just completely enjoyable, especially in audiobook form. It comes off to me as almost a TV show. Each little part of the book has like an arc in and of itself that almost follows a three-act structure, and so it feels like episodes. Like the book is quite relaxing, and it feels like you just binged a TV series, and you're just super relaxed about it. At least I am. That's how I kind of feel, because it feels like different character interactions will happen, and there's a beginning, middle, and end of those interactions, and they all culminate like to something big, and it all feeds back into the main story that's going on. So to me, that feels a lot like a TV series. So adapting this or his superpowered series, I think would be really easy, because that seems to be the writing style that Drew Hayes has created here. It's a very contemporary kind of style with, very contemporary language and stuff, but the way it's done, at least for me, it very much feels like a TV show, the way it all just kind of goes ahead almost procedurally, but very much not. So, as I said already, though, this book is very much about characters. This book is very deep character development story. So if you're into like a superhero series and you're just looking for action and just want beat 'em up kind of scenes, then you're going to be disappointed with this, because similar with Drew Hayes' superpower series, the main focus is the characters. He wants to get deep into these characters so we can understand who they are, what makes them tick, why they make the decisions that they make. And as a result, we get to understand that even though this world presents it as a very black versus white kind of hero versus villain thing, it very much is not. Everybody is very gray, and even the straight up rules like laws and stuff like that, they understand that there needs to be some gray area. So Drew does a lot of fun work exploring those concepts in this story, especially when we get to explore more about Tori's mentor Fornax and the greatest superhero that's ever been, the Lodestar. So it's a lot of fun, and I really recommend it. The pacing is done really well. It's not too slow, even though it's very much character stuff, and that can sometimes get slow. Drew manages to make it feel very smooth with the way he cuts from character to character. That's why I kind of get a lot of TV show feel. It feels like we're in this scene and we're learning something, then we cut to this other scene, like with these other characters, and we learn something, then we cut to this other one and we learn something. Then everything that we learn all has to do with the same subject. So it's just feeding all these different pipes up to the main vein and just going up, and it's just like, it just works really well. I like it a lot. And apart from the really well done writing style, the world building, like the world building, continues to be done really well. We get to see a lot more of the world. We understand a lot more of the past. We understand a lot more of the context of the stuff that we learned in book one, and it's done really well here, and including the magic system, which is basically superpowers. You know, it was superhero comic book level superpowers. And Drew, that same way I said in his superpower series, he has a great grasp of these powers that he uses. A power can be very straightforward on the surface, but he digs into it and opens up the hood and plays with it. And he clearly follows Sanderson's law of limitations are more interesting than powers, because he will give a character a power, but then basically spend all the time with that character's, you know, basically about that character's power, explaining their limitations. And basically, you have to learn how to work around those limitations, which is just so much fun. So I want to go ahead and wrap up the non-spoilery section by saying this is a really good series by Drew Hayes. The second book in the series. I can't wait to see where it goes. I think the characters are done really, really well. The pacing here is great. The writing style is very engaging. And the magic in the world is just so fun and it's just really good to live in. It feels very much like I binged a really good TV show. And I really like that style, and I really think you would too. So I definitely recommend this series to any and everyone that likes anything superhero centered. So let's jump over to the spoiler section. So spoilers for Bones of the Past by Drew Hayes. So in the spoiler section, I really want to talk about the gray area situation, right? So there's this love situation that's kind of been building, kind of been hinted at, but we get a lot more explicit, like evidence for it in this one, between Fornax and the Lodestar. Like it was fairly apparent before that they, you know, it was flirty and like they liked each other and stuff, but it was like villain hero thing. They can't be together. But we got them as close as possible in this story when they're helping the Star Scouts, which is, you know, their world's version of like Girl Scouts, but it's like co-ed and stuff. And it's all about Lodestar. So as punishment for something that Ivan did, Helen, the Lodestar, has him and Tori help out with the Girl Scouts and stuff. So like during all those scenes, we see them interacting and like they get really close to each other, and it's like you just want them to be together so bad because they're so good for each other and stuff, but for so many reasons they can't be, and like it just comes to a head at the end of the story, because like I was saying, 2/3 of this book is all character work, character development, characterization stuff. The last third of the book, the entire last third, is complete and total action. If it was a movie, it would be like the last 45 minutes of the movie is just pure action scene. So there's an alien invasion, and it caused everyone around the world to activate. All the villains are activated and stuff. And because people have been coming after Ivan's children, his ex-wife was like, you got to basically let the world know that Fornax is still a threat. We need them to be scared to keep our kids protected, so that they won't even be a target as, you know, as motivation for him, because somebody targeted his daughter just to like slow him down, just to mess with him. So his wife is like, no, we can't have that. So he basically goes full Fornax, put on the mask and everything, re-debuts, and comes back out and just embarrasses this alien overlord. Like the whole thing is so amazing and so cool and so well thought out. And it just like, I completely understand like how they kind of have fears about the complacency of the world, because between the villains that will protect Earth, because, you know, it's Earth, it's their home, don't trespass on their stuff, so they kind of feel like that. So between these vicious villains who will do anything to protect the Earth, and the most powerful creature known to have existed being Lodestar, like you could get really complacent on this Earth and just be like, yeah, everything's fine, it's all cool and good and stuff. And I really like that dynamic, because it continuously shows that something's going to happen. Something has to happen. So let's go ahead and wrap up this review with me talking about my favorite thing. My favorite character is Nexus. Nexus is either has unlimited versions of himself that all share one single like self, kind of like sense of self, I guess, or he just can spawn multiple versions, because he's been killed but always a different version of him pops up. He's like a multiversal walker, multiversal viewer, so he just goes around from one universe to the other, watching similar events play out and just watching them as if they're a TV show. And like he goes and like will let interdimensional demons or monsters or whatever, like things that could be like a dog in some other dimension, but here they're gigantic monster creature or whatever. He can just kind of open a rift and let all those kind of monsters all come in and stuff, and just to, you know, just to spice stuff up, just to make it a little more interesting for him. So I really like that. And what he tells Cliche, one of the friends of Tori and Beverly, their third roommate, like she's not a villain and she's not a hero. She's just somebody who happens to have gotten powers, and her power is insanely powerful. Like she can, she goes by Cliche, and she can use like classic idioms and stuff, like a penny saved is a penny earned or whatever, and it'll actually happen. So in this book, Drew really starts to explore her power a lot, and Nexus has met her different versions of her throughout the multiverse. He was like, yeah, Cliche isn't, you know, that big a deal. She's interesting, but she's not that fun to watch. But Edict is a lot of fun, and she's terrifying. So I was like, oh my god, like if she goes by the name Edict, then that probably means that the nature of her power works completely differently than we thought, and she has much more of a range than just old sayings and stuff. And Edict can probably have similar power as like an old Cliche saying. So she can probably just literally be a reality warper based in command. So so she says it and she can make it happen. It's so interesting and so cool, and I'm so happy that Drew is starting to play with that power and like everything that's implied through that. So I think it's a lot of fun, and I really recommend it. So yeah, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this video and say, have you guys read Bones of the Past or any other Drew Hayes work? If you have, let me know what your favorite was in the comments down below. So remember to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk to you all next time. Peace.